2017 on a New Year's Eve night out, I left the nightclub with like a big sheet of tinfoil around me, right? Shocking. Like that huge shock absorbent like tinfoil thing. Because do you know the way like on a night out, like obviously New Year's Eve, it's very, very busy and stuff like that. I went in to the girls' bathroom, and obviously the queue was like completely massive, and there was like girls everywhere. And I must have been standing at one of the cubicles waiting, and had my hand on like the hinge of the door, right? And these two girls had like went into the toilet, and I never thought anything of it. I must have been chatting away to somebody. And they went in to the toilet and they closed the door on the hinge of like, my fingers were trapped in the door, and it was so loud in the toilets because it was New Year's Eve and nobody could get my fucking hand out of the fucking door, right? So everybody was like, I was like kicking on the door. I was like, open the door. And they obviously didn't realise, but they eventually opened the door and they closed it again. They were like, oh, what are you doing? You know, like, will you be just like, oh, what are you knocking for? And then close it. But I managed to get my hand out in time, and it took all the skin. What do you see now? My nails are awful, but do you see that there? Everybody says to me, oh my god, you have like a wart in your finger. It's not a wart, it's an actual scar. But I must have been into like a state of like shock, right? And it took all the skin off my finger, and I went down to like the A&E or whatever it was at the time, and I was like shaking like this. I was in so much pain. Like, it was awful. It was the worst thing I've ever experienced. And they gave me like this big sheet of like tinfoil. Like, obviously it's not tinfoil, but it's like something that obviously keeps you warm, because I was like in a state of shock, and my mama had to come pick me up, and I had to go into A&E on New Year's Eve wrapped in this big sheet of tinfoil. And they were like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, I broke my finger. Probably one of the most embarrassing things happened to me leaving a night out. But I have a permanent scar from it, and it's the photographs of it is like, it's disgusting. You think I needed like a skin graft, it was that bad.
Storytime de cuando me rompieron la cachufleta. Literal que estuve 2 meses sin poder volver a estar con absolutamente nadie. Resulta que acontece que en mi época de joven soltera, yo tiroteaba para todos lados. Hasta que en una caigo en las manos de un chico que era más grande que yo. Cabe destacar que a mí no me gustaba estar con pibes más grandes. O sea, creo que lo máximo que había estado era 4 años más grande. Y este tampoco era la guau cosa. Creo que tenía 7 años más grande, una cosa así. Bueno, tuvimos un par de citas que pin que pan hasta que llegó el momento de concretar. Yo no sé si el chabón era duro o qué carajo, pero habían pasado 2 horas. 2 horas. Reloj. Y el chabón seguía y seguía y seguía y seguía. Y yo estaba tipo, ayúdame, loco. Mis piernas no dan más. Ya dijo, basta. Ya era tipo doloroso. Pero yo siempre fui una persona muy pudorosa y me daba vergüenza decirle tipo, flaco, ya está. O sea, yo quería que, no sé, que él piense que yo era actriz porno. Bueno, termina, nos vamos a dormir. Al otro día me despierta y lo mismo. Y yo estaba como, por favor, o sea, me quiero ir de este lugar. Me voy a mi casa. Los primeros 3 días yo iba al baño a hacer pis y me ardía todo como si fuese una infección urinaria. Tipo, voy al médico al 4.º día porque ya me dolía demasiado. Me hicieron 40 millones de estudios, pero estudios de todo tipo. Nunca me encontraron absolutamente nada. No es que el chabón me había transmitido alguna enfermedad o algo así, o nada absolutamente. O sea, solo fue, la mina me explicó en ese momento, la ginecóloga, que había sido un problema de no sé qué verga de la fricción y que el flujo de no sé qué chota. Que a mí se me había lastimado, o sea, tipo, tenía partes que estaba cortado. No sé, 2 meses hasta que pude curar por completo. Tuve que usar óvulos un montón de tiempo. Y no había ningún problema de salud. O sea, no es que yo tenía algún... Me hicieron un montón de estudios, pero no se dan una idea. Tipo, estudios que yo no conocía. Porque la mina me dijo, lo primero que me dijo fue, bueno, ¿tenés alguna enfermedad de algo? Porque yo tenía lastimado, que el ardor, que el dolor, que qué sé yo. Y me dijo, bueno, no sé, tenés algo lastimado. Pero el dolor era hasta como dolor de ovarios. O sea, a mí me dolía la parte exterior y me dolía hasta los ovarios. Claramente nunca volví a ver ese pibe. O sea, la mejor con el chabón, pero no, chicos. Demasiado bruto y duradero para mi gusto. Así que recuerden, si les empieza a arder o doler en un momento, no les dé vergüenza. Avísenle tipo, che, ya está, puedes acabar y ya está.
Wir haben hier keine Maskenpflicht mehr im Krankenhaus, ne? Und Leute, ich weiß nicht, was das geben soll, ne? Ich weiß nicht, was das geben soll. Letztens, ich musste mit einer Kollegin, also mit einer Schülerin, also ich bin im 3. Lehrjahr, sie ist im 2. Lehrjahr, wir mussten einen Mann waschen, ne? Und dieser Mann, der ist, oh, Leute, ich sag euch ehrlich, der Mann ist richtig frech, ne? Also der ist ein kleiner Knirps. Auf jeden Fall, sie ist gerade so halt am Waschen und die hat halt hinten so den hinteren Intimbereich gewaschen. Leute, auf einmal, er furzt ihr so gottlos in die Fresse. Leute, ich stand Warte, und wir haben hier keine Maske mehr und ich so... Der Mann guckt mich so an, der so... Der hat einfach... Der war so im Bett, gell, der so... Ich schwöre, der hat es einfach mit Absicht gemacht, gell. Und sie so... Sie ist einfach so nach hinten gegangen, sie war so... Sie ist so stehen geblieben, gell. Sie war einfach... Sie hält so eine Waschlappe und sie so... Die wollte was heulen, gell. Die stand so da, die so... Ey, aber wisst ihr, was so lustig war? Die war so richtig nah an dem sein Ding, so richtig, die ist so fast reingeklettert. Es tut mir leid, gell. Ich habe auch gesagt, ey, das tut mir gerade voll leid ab für dich, aber ey, Bro, das war voll lustig. Und der Patient, der musste auch voll lachen. Okay, die musste am Ende natürlich auch lachen. Weil es war halt schon assi lustig, aber im ersten Moment, Leute, ich hab gedacht, die bricht die Ausbildung ab, gell, der Blick, gell, der Blick war so, die hat schon überlegt, wie die so...
If breaking up with your partner breaks your trust in other people, you never were actually in love with your partner. That is attachment.
You ever heard that saying where going on a group trip with your friends will show you who your real friends are, like how solid your connection really is? Yeah, well, I just had one of those experiences a couple weeks ago with these two girls that I thought were my friends. Turns out they were not. And before the comments ask, why did you get kicked off? Like, what did you do? I'm going to tell you guys literally like from start to finish. First off, the night before leaving, I had a really, really bad panic attack. And mind you, I don't have panic attacks. Like, I'm an anxious person sometimes, but like this was like a different level. My chest was so heavy. I literally couldn't breathe. I had like a whole mental breakdown before leaving. And I was playing it off that, oh, I'm just nervous because we're going to be driving really far away. And I was just scared. I was just nervous, whatever. No, that was my intuition telling me, Kayla, do not go on this trip. So whatever, the day that we leave, we drive at least like eight to like 10 hours or so. It took us a while to get to where we needed to be. And we ended up staying at this one house for one night. And then the next day we were going to leave and then drive another 3 hours to this music festival. So within this period of time, like I'm noticing like weird looks from one of the girls. Like I'm playing certain musics and like I would see that she would be like rolling her eyes or like getting irritated at me. And I kept having these like really negative thoughts and like this overwhelming feeling of like, I feel like I should not be here right now. So the day before we were going to leave, these girls walk into the room and they're like, hey, Kayla, do you want to go for a walk? And they wanted to go to like this wooded trail or whatever. Mind you, it wasn't out of the ordinary because we had already talked about like going on a hike and like watching a sunrise and stuff like that. So that wasn't weird to me. So whatever, we get to this trail and I'm noticing like really weird vibes. Like it's like something hasn't been said and it's just like there's like a lot of tension. And then I see this flower and something told me to like start filming this flower and to not stop filming. And as soon as I start filming this flower, I overhear one of them go, she's filming, to the other one. And mind you, like they're like a little ways away. So they like weren't that close to me. And it's just, I overheard it. And I feel like I overheard it for a reason. So I peeped that and like something told me like, keep filming. So I kept filming and like, I get them in this video and like this one girl's like, she has this like really creepy smile on her face. And it's kind of like this underlying tone of like, oh, she doesn't even know what we're about to do to her. Like, it's very fucking eerie. So we get to this like middle of this forest preserve, like walking, whatever. And then this one girl goes on with saying, well, Kayla, I kind of want to talk about something and this is mainly for you. But, and then she goes on this whole like tangent. At some point I was really confused at what she was trying to get at. And like, I had to tell her like, okay, can you just like get to the point? Cause like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then we stop and she goes, I want you to leave. I want you to get a plane ride home and I want you gone. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you want me gone? Mind you, like, I've known these girls since middle school. Like, this isn't like, these aren't like random people that I've only known for like so and so long. So I'm like looking around, like looking for like the cameras, like I'm getting pranked, right? Like, what do you mean you want me to leave? And mind you, there's another girl here, but she's not really talking that much. Like, she's just standing there like this, like staring at me like, while the other girl's talking. And I'm looking at both of them like I'm like I'm confused. So whatever, I'm trying to like de-escalate the situation. I'm like trying to like really get down to why they want me gone so badly, because they were saying these things of like, oh, like we feel like you're gonna ruin the trip, we feel like you're gonna do this, we feel like you're gonna do that, blase blase. What are you talking about? You know who I am. Like, I'm so confused right now. Like, there's like a big chunk that's missing here. Like, at some point I asked her for her keys and I'm like, hey, like, can I just like go back to your car? Like, I don't know what the problem is. And like the look on her face when I asked her that, it's like she got pissed off. And at that point, like, I start getting like really panicky. I'm like, whoa, like, what are you guys doing? Like, I don't understand. And mind you, like, we're in the middle of the woods and like these two girls are just ganging up on me at this point. At some point, I was forced to leave their house and I had to get a plane ride home and I had to get a hotel to stay that night because I couldn't get a plane that day. So whatever, we're back at the house. I'm grabbing all of my stuff. Like, they're not really talking to me. Like, they're acting like, oh, it's whatever. And I'm like on the phone and then my Uber's here and I'm not talking to them either. And I just grab my stuff and then one of them goes, where are you going? And I go, my Uber's here. I'm going to my hotel. Like, where else would I be going? And then she looks at me and she goes, oh, well, I would have brought you. Like, it was just like so spiteful. So then I like leave to go to this Uber and then she tries to give me a hug. And like, mind you, like, it was so, like she was playing, like she was acting. Like, this was all an act. Like, she was trying to act like, oh no, like this is the best for everybody. Like, I promise, like, guys, she's gonna ruin it. The other girl was just a fucking follower because she didn't really even say much of anything. So whatever, fast forward, I'm home at this point and they have all of my stuff. I bought food, water that they ended up taking. They took all of that. They had to take my stuff because I brought stuff for camping as well. And mind you, I also paid for this music festival. So I was out $500 something plus some however much on food and water, whatever else. So at some point, her and her little boyfriend stop by my house, drop my stuff off, and then just leave. Like, she can't even face me. I don't even know. So I'm looking at my stuff and I realize that some of my stuff is missing. So my mom ends up calling her, asking her like, hey, like, we're missing this, we're missing that, like, where is it? And one of the things, she's like, oh, my sister has it. All the way out in like South Carolina or North Carolina, whatever. Like, why does she have it? And it was something that was like mine too. So it's like, you had her using my stuff? Okay. Anyway, she starts harassing me about this necklace that her mom gave me. And I said that I didn't have the necklace. And I'm not lying. I didn't have that necklace. I had originally told her that I think I left it at her grandpa's. But, oh my God. Then I remembered the day that I had to leave the hotel, I had a bag that I couldn't bring with me on the plane and I had to leave it there. And the necklace was in that bag. So like, if you want that necklace back so bad, call Embassy Suites in Tennessee because I don't have it. But the funny thing is, I asked her, I'm like, hey, do you have my tube top? And as soon as I asked her about this tube top, she shut up and she was like, I'll check. I'll see if I have it. Oh, okay, here. Let me jog your memory. This tube top that you wore and posted on your Instagram, not just one post, but 2 separate posts, seems very spiteful and vindictive. Not to mention that you also decided to wear the dress that I was gonna wear after you already had one picked out. So let's just say, like, if you really hated me this much, if you really thought that I was like this whatever person that you're trying to paint me as, would you be wearing my clothes and would you be wearing the dress that I was originally going to wear? Maybe that's just me, but I just thought that was really odd and it seems like it's some deeper rooted of some sort of jealousy or something because why are you wearing my stuff? You posted it too. And it's probably because you knew that somehow it was going to get back to me and I can already see it like, oh, this is Kayla's shirt, should I wear it? Da 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 da. Just gross behavior. Thing is, I already know she's just going on a rampage, trying to talk a lot of shit about me and trying to say this, that, and third of, oh, she's doing this, she's doing that. This is a projection of yourself, girl. You are a compulsive liar. You are trying to convince yourself of your own lies, and you know that you're lying. This is my story, my piece, and that's it.
What's something that happened to you that sounds so fake that if you were to tell people, they wouldn't believe you?
This is a story that I haven't told many people because frankly, I feel like everybody would think I'm crazy. When I was 16 years old, I went on a ski trip with my school. I live in Australia and snow is rare, so we had to go an 18-hour bus ride down south to the snow. I was with my friends, we're having a good time, we were excited to go snowboarding, but on only the second day of this trip, my entire life shifted. So because we weren't experienced in snowboarding, most of us school kids would go with the people who worked at this snow lodge and we'd all snowboard as one big group down the slopes. Some of the courses were more easy, some of them were more difficult, really just depending on what sort of experience you had as a snowboarder. I had none, so I was snowboarding with a big group of people, but I was the person at the very back of this group. Everyone starts to turn around this big mountain. Because I'm 5 seconds behind everyone, I turn around the mountain 5 seconds later. Mind you, it's a super busy day on the snow, it's a beautiful sunny day and there are people everywhere, and like not just us school kids, like a lot of people. But when I turn around this big mountain, everyone is gone. Everybody who was in front of me was gone and everybody who was skiing or snowboarding behind me was gone. Like, there were people who were not in the group I was snowboarding with, other people behind me. So once I went around this mountain, they should have followed. I should have been able to see everybody in front of me, because after I turned this mountain, it was just a straight long slope down the hill. But I was dead alone. I'm obviously instantly confused, shocked. I don't understand what's happening. I get my phone out to call my best friend who was on this ski trip with me. And I remember so distinctly, my phone was on like 75% charge. Like, it was charged. But as soon as I pressed the little circle to enter my phone, my whole screen went black and the no battery signal came up. The only way I could make sense of what happened is that everybody somehow just beat me to the bottom of this course, and everyone behind me somehow went past me without me realizing. I was just like grasping at straws. So I continued to just keep snowboarding down the hill, hoping that I'd just make it to the end. The thing is that there was no end. There was no end to this course, or whatever alternate reality course I had just jumped into. As I mentioned, I was not an experienced snowboarder, so I was trying my best to snowboard, but I kept falling over. I decided to just eventually give up, clip my snowboard off, and walk. I walked for like an hour. I was tired. I was carrying this heavy snowboard. I was walking in snow, which is just as hard as walking in sand. And after what feels like forever, I finally came to this, what looked like an abandoned ski lift. It was really dingy and old and creaky and looked scary. I thought my best chance was to get onto this ski lift so I could get up high and have a look around, hoping that maybe I'd find where the main area is, because in the main area there's like a bar and cafes and restaurants and whatever. I thought if I can see that, I know which direction to walk in and I can just make my way over there before the sun sets. But when I get onto this ski lift, there's nothing but snow and trees. And obviously I was freaking out because it was sunset, like it was about to be dark. But then I was also thinking, how the fuck did this happen? Like, I was with a group of people in a busy area, and also because I was a child and a beginner at snowboarding, obviously they took us to a course that was super close to like the main area. The fact that I'm now on this single seater ski lift looking out 360 views and there's nothing, I didn't know, what do you even do? And it was on that ski lift, I just broke down sobbing. Like, I genuinely thought I was going to die. I just wanted my mum. And this ski lift just drops me off at nowhere, like no destination, no platform, nothing. The cabin that we were staying at, the way to get to this main area to go skiing and snowboarding in was that we had to catch a shuttle bus and then an underground subway. The sunset, it's dark. You have to understand how scary it was. Because when I say dark, I mean I couldn't barely see what was in front of me. There's no city lights anywhere. Didn't have the torch on my phone to shine. Just as I was about to give up and sit down and accept what was going to happen, I saw like this glowing light in the distance. And what it led me to was like this glowing tunnel with a staircase leading down into it. And what led me to the bottom was an underground subway. How that was there, I don't know. Why it was there, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense for there to be a proper station there because I was in the middle of nowhere. But sure enough, the subway came and I jumped on it. And it took me to the shuttle buses, and I took a shuttle bus back to the cabin. And when I walked into the cabin, all the school kids I was with, all the teachers that were there were all having like dinner together. And I was like, was no one looking for me? And everybody very nonchalantly, not in like even a rude way, were just like, oh, hey, Chloe, there you are. It was almost as if they were hearing me through a filter and they weren't grasping the gravity of what I was trying to say. I don't know. The whole thing was weird. The energy was off. For the next few days, I stayed in the cabin. I refused to leave the cabin. And then when I got home, things felt slightly off. I don't really know how to explain it, but for example, certain objects in my room were in like a different place. And it's not as if anybody in my family would have gone in and rearranged my room. It didn't feel like that's what happened. It felt as if that is where it belonged. But I knew that it was in a different spot before I left. Even just weird things like timing felt different. Everything was just slightly tweaked. When I told my sister about this story a few years later, she said to me, there probably is a timeline out there where you did get lost in the snow and quantum jumped. And she said there's probably a timeline out there where our family is grieving you, which is so scary and sad to think. But that's my story, where if I told anybody, they probably wouldn't believe me.
The reason most couples argue is because you guys are both making your own assumptions about what the other person's thinking, their intentions. Oh, you probably did this because you didn't care about me. I'm gonna be honest, that's very unreasonable. Assuming that your partner has malicious motives to hurt your heart sounds like the perfect formula for you to continue your avoidant behavior, for you to choose to protect yourself, defend yourself, not be a part of this relationship.
Here's the story time on how I found out that one of my closest friends was sending booty pics to my brother. Okay, so before we start off, I just, like, I've had this account for a while, and I haven't posted anything, and I don't follow it. Nobody's ever followed this account, people that I know. So that means nobody's gonna find this, and people aren't gonna know. And it also means that I can tell stories about people that I know without them finding out. So why not start off with the one about how I found out that one of my closest friends was sending booty pics to my brother. So for some context, I have known this girl since, we'll call her Emiliana. I've known her since 8th grade. We went to the same middle school, like all 3 years, but I didn't know her until 8th grade because we had classes together and we had like the same friends. Not the same friend group, but like my friends were her friends and her friends were like, I knew them and I was cool with them. Yeah. So we didn't really get close until this year, my 9th grade year. And this was because we had the same biology class. Bro, if somebody finds this, like people that I know, they're gonna know what I'm talking about. Because I've only had one friend that sent booty pics. But anyways, so at my high school, I am not popular at all. All of my friends from middle school were zoned for a different high school, so I don't go to the same high school as them, and that left me coming into freshman year with one friend. And when I walked into biology class, I saw the Emiliana girl, and I was like, oh, like, I know her, she's cool, we have friends in common, like, we can be friends. And whenever my biology teacher would be like, oh, get into groups, it would always be a group of 4, and me and her would group together with 2 other girls that also went to middle school. But yeah, so in biology, it was always, like, partner work, and during partner work, like, just our whole table would talk about anything. And me and Emily really got along because we could relate to each other, I guess. And she would always tell me about the guys that are hitting her up, like her new, like, guys that she was talking to. And at the time, I really liked one guy, so I would tell her about him. So we were always just talking to each other back and forth about that, and I guess that's what got us close, like, we really got close. But yeah, moral of the story is we got really close. And one day, it was around Halloween time, and I remember I literally went to Taco Bell after trick-or-treating, bro. And I went to Taco Bell, and I was with my brother, and I told him, and I was like, because a guy that Emiliana used to talk to walked in. And I pointed and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I know, my friend used to talk to that guy. And my brother was like, which friend? So I pulled up her Instagram and I showed her. And I don't know if you remember the user, the whatever. And then he went and looked her up, but I don't know. The point is that he ended up following her on Instagram. And after Thanksgiving, Halloween weekend, Emiliana walks into biology class and she was like, Ari, like, why is your brother requesting me on Instagram? And I was like, I don't know, like, I don't know, like, just decline his request. But no, why would we do that? Let's accept it! So she accepted it. And I remember, like, she would be showing me their conversations, and literally, it wasn't anything like, it was kind of flirty. I remember he was telling her about, like, I don't know, it was like, I remember they were talking about, like, politics, and he was like, I like it when a girl's educated on politics. She's 14. But yeah, so that was how he ended up finding her Instagram, I'm pretty sure. And after that, I remember she only showed me 2 of their conversations. I don't know if any more happened. I don't know if that was all that happened. But as far as I knew, the conversation about that and then another conversation about a song was all that they had talked about. So it was around, like, I remember it was Christmas break. And Emily told me of like a couple weeks, 2 weeks before she moved, that she was moving over Christmas break. And I was like, my science buddy. But yeah, so she ends up moving. And after that, we actually stayed close even after she moved. We got close that year, and then we stayed close even after she moved. Which, she moved, granted, she only moved like 2 hours away, but still, like, I wouldn't have expected, if we're not seeing each other and all that, like, I didn't expect me and her to stay close, especially because we were such new friends. But yeah. And keep in mind, like, it was always her reaching out to me. I think the reason that we stayed so close is because she was always texting me and, like, telling me, like, things that was happening over there where she was, and I'd give her updates on me and what was happening where I am. But yeah, she ends up moving. And throughout the time that she moved, I did not know that her and my brother were still talking. I didn't know any of that. But come, like, end of January, I ended up finding out. So I said earlier how me and the Emiliana girl have a lot of friends in common. And one of these friends, we'll call her Charlotte. I've been close to Charlotte since, like, 8th grade because we had this one business class together. So me and Charlotte have been close. We weren't that close, but we got closer this year. And that was because we had ACE journal paper together. And she sat right next to me. So one day, I walked into my ACE journal paper class. I sat down next to Charlotte. And I told her, and I was like, ooh, like, something happened yesterday. Or something happened over the weekend, I think. I'm pretty sure it was a Monday. And I walk in, and I was like, oh, like, something happened the other day, and I want to tell you about it. And she's like, okay, I have something to tell you, too. And I was like, oh, like, what about? And she's like, it's not bad, don't worry. And I didn't worry. But yeah, so I told her what happened with me, and then she told me, and she was like, oh, like, don't say nothing, like, don't act on anything. And I was like, okay, I won't, like, I'm not gonna tell anybody, I won't say anything. Because I didn't think that she was gonna proceed to tell me that my friend has sent photos of her hoo-ha to my brother. But of course, that was the next thing that came out of her mouth. And she told me, and I was like, wow, it's great. But yeah, so she told me, and she was like, oh, like, I was talking to Emiliana the other day, and she was telling me about how she ended up sending to your brother and how he sent to her. And she told me that she was, like, laughing about it and, like, joking about it. And my friend Charlotte, that's what we're calling her, right? Charlotte was like, oh, like, that's not funny. Like, that's kind of interesting, actually. So, yeah. And keep in mind, Charlotte said that she wouldn't tell anything to me, but she told me, she was like, because she has an older brother, and she was like, if anybody ever did that with my older brother, I would want to be told. And I think that it's really messed up that she did that. And I was like, yeah, it is. And honestly, I did feel really bad about it for like a good 3 weeks after. Like, yeah, I've ended up forgiving her because like I need to move on, but it hurt. Like we got really close. Like, I told her like personal things, and then she went and she did that. Like, you're kind of weird, bro. But it's whatever. So I told her, and I was like, well, I don't want to be friends with her after this. Like, why would I be friends with her? Like, it's not. So I ended up like removing her off of stuff, and that was that. And Charlotte was like, well, I told her I wasn't gonna say anything, and now she's gonna think that I said something. And I was like, okay, then let's come up with something that we'll just tell her that something happened. And we agreed, and we're like, okay, we'll tell her that I didn't tell you, but you ended up finding out that I ended up telling Charlotte that I found out. And we're like, okay, that's what we'll go with. So that's what we ended up going with, and yeah. And I'm pretty sure that we haven't talked since. We haven't talked. But now that I think about it, like, there's a lot of stories that come from this one, like, a lot. But let me know if y'all want to hear about those. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, like, we haven't talked since. I'm pretty sure she thinks that I still hate her and all that, but yeah, I don't. And also, I want to make it very clear that I did make it clear to her that I didn't like that she was texting my brother. I told her multiple times that it made me uncomfortable, and I even asked for her to remove him like 3 times. Cause like, why do you need to be talking to my brother? Like, my best friends, I have like 3. None of them follow my brother. They don't follow him. They don't have him added on anything. Like, why? Why do you need to do that? But yeah. So that is the story time on how I found out that one of my closest friends was sending booty pics to my brother.